Hey, what's happening? This is Shane here, and on behalf of my partner Ryan Skelly and I just wanted to thank you very much for purchasing our webinar presentation template. I think you're going to find that this is going to be fantastic for increasing your sales. And what I wanted to point out here is just I'm recording this little video here for you just to give you an overview of how to use the template. And it's really, really important that you use it in the way that we've prepared here for you. If you try to deviate from this formula, then you're likely to not have as good a results as you could have if you had used this formula. All right, so just to start off with, I'm going to give you just a high-level framework for how the entire presentation looks. And then you'll see there's 99 slides in total. You don't have to use all of them, of course, but you'll see on each of the 99 slides, I've editorialized for you in blue lettering how to use that particular slide and why that slide is positioned like it is. So in most cases, you're going to get a little bit of the reason why behind the scenes as to why you're doing it. I just find that if people know the reason why that it's there and what it's being used for, that it's a little bit better understood that way. So just at a high level, the framework here, there's 6 basic sections to the webinar presentation template. The first one obviously is the introduction, where you're going to introduce your prospects' problem, or at least the biggest issue that they're having in whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. And then in that same context, you'll hint at what your unique solution is in terms of solving that problem and what the benefits are to them. So you're kind of building a business case here right from the get-go as to what the reason that you would want to have them hold in and watch your entire webinar. Because remember, you've only got a few minutes right there at the beginning of the webinar, because they're sitting there watching it in the beginning, trying to determine if this is the right thing for them or not. So you want to hold their attention. That's the best way to do it, is to drill right into the problem right away, your unique solution and what the benefits are to them, because that's why they're there, right? And then after you've hooked them with that, then you can go into a bit of your hook and story background. And there's a particular way to do that. I'm going to give you a supplementary PDF that shows you sort of our 6 steps to creating your own hook and story. And the reason that you do that, what you're basically trying to do is compel them to take the action that you want them to take at the end of the webinar. And you're doing that kind of through your hook and story. And the way that you're doing that is that it's really not about you, although you're talking about you. You're talking about your story as to how you came about to realize this really great thing that you have that you're going to teach them to be able to solve their problem. And the thing is about this is it's not about you, it's about them. And more so than that, it's about them realizing themselves inside of your story, realizing the same exact results that you've been able to get. And if you can position your story in such a way that they feel that way, like it becomes believable to them, it becomes possible. It's like, maybe I can achieve this. And what you're going to find is that's probably the biggest hurdle to selling on a webinar, is that they just don't believe in themselves, or they don't believe that it will work for them. So if you can build your hook and story in a way that allows them to envision themselves inside of that story, then that'd be great. Then you're going to future pace them a little bit and just take them to the promised land. Tell them what it's going to be like once they do whatever it is that you're teaching, and paint that picture. So basically the overall introduction is just, why should they stay? It's kind of often we talk about WIIFM, what's in it for me. So that's basically what you're trying to do. And then the second piece of the framework is just, teach your step-by-step framework. What does that look like? Make it easy for them to follow. Make it tangible. Make it so that it's a repeatable solution that they can easily follow and get results for themselves. And then the third section is just go over your actual case studies. You want to have real case studies, because those real case studies, it kind of ties in back to what I said about your hook and story here in the introduction, is that if they can see other people that you've also taught, or other people that you've helped in whatever it is that you do to solve this problem in your unique way, then they're going to realize themselves inside of one of those other person's stories. So the more case studies you can have, the more variety, the better off you're going to be, because they'll see themselves inside of one of those examples. And so the idea with the case studies is you want to have proof tied to your promise. So this is tied in. There's a common thread here. What are you going to make a pitch on, or what are you going to offer them to buy later on? You want your case studies to be tied into that. So it's proof tied to your promise. You want to show them people just like them that are getting success from doing whatever it is that you're recommending. Give tangible and measurable results so that they can see that you're able to get the results that they too want. And we always say, Ryan and I always say, results trump everything. So if you've got to skimp on any of these pieces of this overall presentation, don't do it here. Make sure that you beef up on the case studies, because it really is true that results trump everything. We've seen people come out and have a really polished presentation, and they've got all the right stuff, and they're transitioning into the pitch and doing the right things about how they make their pitch and offer, and nobody still buys. Well, the reason is it just wasn't believable. They just didn't believe it because they didn't see enough tangible proof. So you can never do enough there. All right, so once you've got the case studies in place, then you're going to start to transition into the pitch. And it's important that you have this piece in there before you go straight into the pitch. I've seen people make a webinar presentation and they go right from talking about their framework straight into the pitch, and it's like it's too fast for them. They don't even realize that they're being sold to at this point. So the best way to do this is I like to do something called the trial close right up near the introduction, where once you've established a little bit of rapport with them and told them about your hook and story and introduced the problem and your unique solution, then you might want to, at the end of that introduction period, just say to them, and later on in the presentation, I'm going to be giving you guys an opportunity to invest in a program that's going to allow you to get these results quicker. So you're not asking them to buy it this time. You're not making your pitch. You're just letting them know that it's going to happen. And that eases their mind when you actually go into the pitch. And if you can shift gears even further by using this transition, we've got 3 or 4 slides that you'll see later on where we transition to that pitch, then it's going to make your pitch all that much more stronger. So the way we do that is the first slide, just 3 simple truths. And usually what we do is we'll just talk about, some of the things that we've learned on the webinar, and congratulate them for sticking in and staying for this long, because, if they've been able to stick it out for that long on your webinar, probably, if they're at this point, then they probably stuck around for an hour or so. So they should be congratulated, because that's a big thing for them to do. That's an hour invested of their time. So it just states 3 simple truths. That's a little NLP or neuro-linguistic programming technique. Now I say technique, but I mean, if you do this in a really cool way, it feels very genuine, and then allows you to softly transition. And then you just remind them, why are you here? What do you stand for? What do you want to win? What do you want to be able to accomplish in your life? Remind them why they're here and what they want to accomplish. And then just remind them that it's time for their breakthrough. It's time to finally get these results for yourselves too. Like, why sit around on the sidelines watching other people do it? And then invite them to that opportunity to get results quicker with you. And ask them at that point if they're ready to up-level their life, and get them to comment in the comment stream. So that way it's them telling you that it's okay. They want you to tell them about your offer. And then that's when you're cool to go into your actual pitch. And now you're going to really hardcore it at this point. Okay, you cannot be selling on your heels, as so to speak, is what we often say in sales language. And by selling on your heels, I simply mean you're kind of turning away from them. You're going, maybe if you like, I have this thing that might help you, and it's just not a very strong way. You've got to be very extremely assertive. You should be thinking about this in terms of, one of your relatives or your spouse or a good friend has a disease and you've got the cure for this disease. You can help them. So you're going to do everything possible to make sure that gets into their hands. So you make sure that you're assertive at this point. So what you're going to do is just give a quick overview of the features of whatever it is that you're offering that's going to help them solve this problem and get quick results. Then you're going to follow up and give detailed benefits of each one of those features. All right, you'll see in the slides. By the way, this is a real presentation that Ryan and I did for our FB Ads Coaching Academy. So this is not fake stuff. This isn't made up stuff. It's the real stuff, and you'll see how we actually make that pitch in terms of the features and benefits later on. And then you're going to provide a price baseline, which is based on previous products that you've sold. Or if you haven't had previous products or you haven't done previous services, then you can just compare to industry benchmark. What you're trying to do here is give them an idea of what kind of cost this might have cost for them to invest in. And at this point, you should be trying to position your price lower than that, so that they've got a benchmark in their minds that's going to be much higher. And when you drop your price, it's going to feel like a relief to them. Like, oh, wow, I can get all this for a much lower price. So, and you're going to give them some kind of a special deal. Make sure it has special bonuses, special offer. They showed up for your webinar. They've stayed this long, so make sure that you make it real special for them. And what we found is if we give 2 price options, that's typically the best way to do it. Give them an all-out price to buy or a payment plan. Some people can't afford to put all that money out there. And plus, it's a little bit of risk reversal. They're still maybe not quite sure if you can help them. So if you tell them that they can buy it through a payment plan, then that's going to help them ease into it for you. And then you're going to drop your unbelievable fast action bonus. You'll see what Ryan and I did later on in the presentation here, but you make up your own, whatever you think is going to be something that would be, it should be something that the bonus, this fast action bonus should be something that is valued at equivalent to whatever you're selling this for. It should be so unbelievable that it's like, wow, I would pay that price just to get this bonus. And you leave them hanging at the edge of their seat. You make them wait for the link. At this point, you should have people asking you, in the chat saying, just give us the link. We want to buy. We're ready to go. And but make them wait, and you ask them a question. Are you ready to go? Do you want to invest in your future and get these kind of results? And you just kind of push them and push them and push them. And then you go to the next slide. You drop the link. You yell, go, 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 because you want to make sure that as many people as possible get that fast action bonus. All right, so that's how you do your pitch. And then once you've done that, you go for the close. We've got a lot of techniques that we use for doing this. But basically, it goes something like this. We say, here's what you need to do next. And we give them an outline of exactly what the steps are to make the purchase. A lot of people will click the link and sometimes they'll just get confused. Like, am I supposed to click on PayPal? Am I supposed to put in my credit card? How does this work? So you give them the steps. You can even show them in your browser what happens when they go to make that purchase. The clearer you can make the purchase cycle to them at this point, the better it's going to be for you, because you take all the confusion away. Then after you've done that, then you're going to layer on all of your bonuses. So hopefully you've got a few bonuses, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different bonuses that are going to add to the value of this. Make it very irresistible. Make it all things that are complementary to your original offer. And then you're going to give them a risk reversal guarantee. So you might want to give a 30-day or 60-day money-back guarantee. That takes all the risk onto your shoulders so that if they're still in question at all at this point, they will be saying, hey, at least I can get my money back if I feel it's not really meant for me. And then you go to answer questions, have them posting their questions in the chat, and you can even position a few questions that are the typical objections that your audience would have. So let's say, for instance, if something like, I can't afford it, well, you can discuss that by talking about the fact that you've got a payment plan in place. So by the time they get to the last payment, they'll probably be getting some results and making a return on that investment. So you can take away all of their objections within the questions. And then you're going to summarize the offer again. So you just kind of go back to where you had made your pitch and you talked about the features and benefits, and just do a quick summary of that so that they can remember, because by this time they've gone through so much they may have forgotten. And once you summarize that, then you go out and you do something we call parade the buyers. And by parading the buyers, I mean just congratulate people. Just say, hey, welcome Sally and welcome Darcy and Brent, and just parade everybody, because they should feel proud that they've made this investment in terms of getting something for their life and their business. So parade them around. That's also going to have the effect of creating some envy for the people who haven't yet purchased. And that may just push some other people off the fence. And then you go back to answering a few more questions. Then at this point, you want to get real tough on them and say, okay, play the scarcity card. Say, the price is going up, or the bonuses are going away, or whatever it is that you made in terms of making this offer special for this one time. Let them know that kind of stuff is going to go away. You want to be honest about it. Don't do something where you say the price is going up, but you don't increase the price or anything like that. But make sure that they know that the time is now to click the button and make this thing happen. So be tough on them. Do you want to be in this group over here with all of us in a private Facebook group where we're going to help each other commit to this stuff and take action and get the results that you want to get? Or do you want to just continue on this year being alone and not getting the results that you want? So make them feel bad about that. And then you want to open the kimono. So at this point, what I like to do is just take them inside of the membership area or show them a little bit about what it is that they've just purchased. And you can let them know at this point. What the little trick that I like to do is just tell the people that say, okay, everyone who purchased, you can stay on the webinar now, and anyone who didn't purchase, you can jump off. Now, they're not going to jump off. They're going to want to stay on because they want to know what's going on too. Curiosity killed the cat, right? So they're going to stay on. You open the kimono, show them what they're going to get, and all the people who haven't bought yet start to feel really envious because they're seeing all these wonderful things that you're going to give to the people who bought, and that'll help push some more people off. Then you give one last scarcity push, one last chance, and then you close down your webinar. So that's it. As you go through each of these slides, I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but you'll see at the top I've editorialized what each slide is for in blue. So the blue part is me editorializing our presentation. The rest of it is the actual presentation we used. Now, what I want you guys to do is go through this. Do not copy any of our slides. If you do, we'll hunt you down and find you, and you'll probably be speaking to our lawyer. This is all our proprietary information. Do not copy any of our case studies, any of our slides. This is meant for you to use as a template to model the various different aspects of how you do a presentation and pitch on a webinar. And especially do not use our logo, please. You can actually go into, if you go into View and you go into the Slide Master, you can literally edit the colors and put in a new logo. Everything that you need to edit is in the Slide Master here. All right, so here's where we started transitioning into the pitch. This is slide 48. So everything before this was teaching them our framework of how to do what we do and giving them case studies so that it becomes real for them. It's proof tied to the results. Now in this little NLP transition, we just state 3 simple true facts. You know, since you're still sitting here at your computer watching this webinar, we want to congratulate you for your perseverance. You obviously have what it takes to succeed. You're in the top 1% already, and they deserve to be congratulated if they've stuck out that long with you. You've listened and you've learned about our background and our welcome funnel and how the Facebook pre-launch funnel works. And you know that these amazing Facebook marketing funnel strategies can be a great way to make sales and build your business. So you can see how we just naturally do the transition. You know, we're talking about things that they just learned about. We're talking about all the good stuff. We're talking about how great they are for sticking in this long. So it's just truths, you know, simple truths. Make them feel good that they're deciding to make a change at this moment in time, because change is difficult for people. And so we say, if you're the type of person who has a certain expertise in your niche and you really want to serve people in your market and you're ready to make the shift in your life and your business, you might be wondering how you can implement the tactics and strategies that we just showed you. So you can see how I'm slowly making that turn now. You know, they know it's coming, but I'm not, you know, just all of a sudden moving into my pitch. And then I say, it's time for your breakthrough. And this is just the way you do it, nice and softly, and you ask them the question. So I said here, that's why Ryan and I decided to help entrepreneurs like you, and we made the Area 51 FB Ads Coaching Academy. 30 awesome students signed up for our beta, and 80% of them are already seeing amazing results. So you see how I'm kind of building some anticipation that, hey, there's already some people there. So you're with friends, you're with people who are already getting some success who can help you, you know. So it's real important that we do that. And then we future pace a little bit by talking about what the case studies were, and we tie that into their strongest desires. So in this case, we said we showed you how our 3 recent case studies netted 100K plus. What would it be like in your life if you're able to achieve even 10% of those results? Working with us will help you with your funnel and optimize your ads. So you see how that transition worked really, really softly to go into it. And then we asked them the question in the chat, you know, are you ready to up-level your business and take your life to the next level? And everyone's saying, yeah, of course. You'll have a few people who will drop off that will say, hey, thanks, I got what I wanted for, what I came here for. And so then we transition into telling them who this program is specifically designed for, so that they know they're in the right place. And here's how we'll do it with you. We've created this 6-week training. So you see how soft that was? And then I go into more of the hard pitch, where I get assertive about, you know, here's what the product is, here's what's in it, here's all the features and benefits type of thing. All right, so hopefully that's going to help you crush your sales. I just wanted to show you one other thing. Once you've got this template, you may want to actually upgrade to our Webinar 10X conversion method. It's a new course that we created that helps you to get all the people that you need registered for this webinar that you're going to hold to get lots of sales. And in this membership area, this is the 10X Webinar Academy, you're going to see all kinds of videos that we give where we walk you through the whole process of getting your first 1,000 people signed up for a webinar. And Ryan and I often will get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. We've even had as much as 55,000 people signed up to the beginning of a marketing funnel. So it's pretty crazy. We've taken all of our best techniques and we put them into this membership center in an easy to follow framework for you. And you'll see one of the real great videos that's in here is the anatomy of the perfect webinar presentation. So I go through in infinite detail all the different NLP tactics, all the different transitions, everything that you want in full detail. This is about an 1.5 hour long webinar that we did. It's broken down into 2 parts. And then we go into how to actually create ads and how to remarket so that you get as many people buying as possible during your cart's closing phase. So if you want to upgrade to that, then what you're going to want to do is click on the link below and you'll come to this upgrade overview that I provided in a video sales letter, and you can upgrade your webinar presentation template to the full 10X Conversion Academy. All right, so that's all for now. This is Shane. I'll see you guys on the inside. And by the way, if you do upgrade to this, you'll get access to our private Facebook group where you can collaborate with other people just like you and ask us questions too. All right, so this is Shane. We'll see you in the group.